I still remember that morning, the kind of morning where the sun rises too slowly, and everything feels slightly off, like the universe is preparing you for something you're not ready for. My name's Lina, and I was working the early shift at Harborview Cafe, the little breakfast spot across the street from St. Brighton Private Hospital. The cafe wasn't fancy. Chipped mugs, squeaky stools, the smell of burnt toast lingering no matter how many times we cleaned. But it was home. It was safe. And on most days, it was quiet. That day wasn't quiet. It started with a loud crash in the kitchen, not unusual, since one of our cooks was clumsy. But before I could even check, the bell above the front door chimed, and a small group walked in. 3 bodyguards. A woman in a charcoal suit, and a boy, maybe 8 or 9, small, pale, moving slowly like every step hurt. The woman's voice was clipped, irritated. "Sit anywhere, Nathaniel. We don't have all morning." The boy didn't answer. He held his stomach and winced. I walked over with menus. "Good morning. Table for 4? The woman barely glanced at me. "Yes, yes." And quickly, "Please." We're on a schedule. Normally, comments like that irritated me, but something about the boy caught my attention. His breathing was shallow, his eyes unfocused, and his hands trembling, but not from cold. I knelt a little so I was eye level. "Hey there, buddy. You feeling okay?" He tried to speak, but the woman interrupted sharply. "He's fine. Doctor's already checked him. Just some stomach cramps. He'll deal." I froze. "Doctors? Checked him?" He didn't look checked. He looked scared. At that moment, early in the video, right around the first 2 minutes, I slipped in the question I always ask for our viewers at Tale Storyhouse. By the way, from where are you watching this story? Let me know down in the comments. It always amazes me how far stories can travel. The woman sighed dramatically. "Just bring him some tea." I nodded, but my eyes stayed on the boy. "Can I ask your name?" He whispered, "And Nathan." His hand moved away from his stomach for a second, and that's when I saw it, a faint, extremely specific type of swelling low on his right side. The kind most people would dismiss, but I'd seen it before, years ago, on my little brother, right before his appendix ruptured. Cold washed over me. I looked at the woman. "Ma'am, you said doctors already checked him?" "Yes, private doctors. The best. We have an appointment in 30 minutes with the specialist. Now, please, the tea?" I swallowed hard. I think he needs to go back. Right now." She narrowed her eyes. "Excuse me?" The boy whimpered suddenly, clutching his side harder. I turned to one of the bodyguards, big guy, calm eyes. "Sir, he's showing signs of appendicitis, and those can turn dangerous fast. If it bursts," the woman slammed her hand on the table. "You are a waitress, not a physician. Bring the tea." I felt my heart hammering. I wasn't trying to overstep, but everything in me screamed that something was wrong. Nathan's breathing got louder, faster. His forehead started to sweat. I whispered to him, "Does the pain move when you walk?" He nodded quickly. His neck strained, like he was fighting tears. That was all I needed. I stood up. "He needs a hospital. Immediately." The woman stood too, towering over me. "You will not tell me what my son needs. We have specialists waiting. He may not make it 30 minutes. For a moment, the room felt frozen. Then the boy collapsed sideways against the booth. The bodyguards rushed forward. The woman panicked, shouting his name, shaking him. But he was barely responsive now, eyes half closed. "I told you," I said, voice cracking. "He needs help right now." The calm bodyguard lifted the boy into his arms. "Ma'am, I think she's right. We have to call the driver. No time," I snapped. Hospital's across the street. Another guard flung open the door. Rain had started falling outside. I grabbed napkins, held them against Nathan's forehead, trying to keep him awake. The woman's voice trembled for the first time. "Nathan, baby, please, stay with us." We ran across the street. I didn't know who they were. Not yet, but the hospital staff recognized them instantly. Nurses rushed over, shouting codes and orders. The moment they saw his symptoms, everything moved fast. A doctor pushed through. Possible appendiceal rupture, internal bleeding, prep and OR. They whisked him away, leaving us standing in cold fluorescent light, soaked from the rain and adrenaline. The woman finally turned to me, shaking. "What? How did you know?" "The doctors this morning said it was nothing." I swallowed. "My brother, same symptoms. We almost lost him." Her face softened, collapsing under fear. I didn't see it. I thought he was being dramatic." Before I could respond, a tall man in an expensive suit stormed down the hallway, security rushing behind him. "What happened? Where is he? Where's my son?" The woman spoke quickly. "He collapsed. They're operating." He didn't let her finish. He turned to me. "You," he said sharply. "Who are you?" I wiped my hands on my apron, suddenly nervous. I'm just a waitress." I noticed something was wrong. He stared at me long enough that I felt myself shrink. Then his jaw tightened. "Come with me." "What? Why?" But he was already walking toward the surgical waiting area, expecting me to follow. The woman looked down, embarrassed, as if she already knew something I didn't. When I caught up, the man turned slowly. "I'm Adrian Vale," he said. "CEO of Vale Tech." My heart stopped. Vale Tech, one of the biggest corporations in the country, worth billions. And the boy, he swallowed. "Is my son, Nathan?" I blinked. Hard. The woman earlier. The suits. The guards. It all made sense now. Before I could speak, he stepped closer. The doctors missed it. Everyone missed it. His voice wavered. "But you didn't." I lowered my eyes. I recognized the signs." "You saved his life," he whispered. "If you hadn't insisted, he would have died." I felt tears sting my eyes at the same time his did. And then the operating room doors burst open with a shout. "Mr. Vale, we have an update on your son." The CEO stiffened. The world went silent. And that's where everything truly changed. I froze for a moment, the weight of that rich, silent hallway pressing against my chest. It didn't feel like the hospital anymore. It felt like a decision point. One of those moments you only recognize years later when someone asks, "When did your life change?" For me, it was right here, outside the door of the billionaire's private suite, still smelling faintly like fire oil from my shift, still trembling because a child's life had hung in the balance. And because I was just a waitress who had no business being in this world. But then the door opened. Gordon Hayes, the billionaire CEO, stood there. His shirt was wrinkled, his hair disheveled, and his eyes were red in a way no amount of money could hide. Behind him, I could see his wife holding their son's hand, whispering prayers into his tiny fingers. He looked at me for a long second, not the way people look at waitresses. Not with judgment or superiority. He looked at me like a man trying to understand the person who had just kept his entire world breathing. "You? You saw it," he said quietly. "I didn't see it," I replied. I just listened. He blinked, as if those words struck deeper than I intended. "Come in," he said, stepping aside. I hesitated. Are you sure?" "You saved my son. The least I can do is invite you in." The room felt too bright, too white, too expensive. Machines beeped softly. Nurses whispered updates. His wife gave me a tearful smile, the kind of smile someone gives you when they have no words left. "Thank you," she mouthed. I nodded, my throat tight. Then Gordon turned to me again. "Do you know how many doctors walked past him?" He asked. His voice wasn't angry. It was broken. "They saw charts, numbers, protocols. But you You noticed what they didn't. I just picked up on the signs, I murmured. The wheezing, the stomach pull, the panic. I've seen it happen before with a little girl at the diner. She choked on a piece of candy once. Same symptoms, his wife gasped softly. You saved a stranger the same way? She asked. I shrugged, suddenly shy. Sometimes people just need someone to pay attention. Gordon paced slowly, as if the room was too small for a man used to owning skyscrapers. Everyone pays attention to me, he said, almost bitterly. People study my investments, my speeches, my face. But nobody, he paused, looking at his son. Nobody noticed him struggling for air except you. His words sat heavy in the air. I didn't know how to respond, so I stood quietly, hands clasped in front of me, trying not to fidget like I did when customers complained about cold coffee. Then suddenly he asked, What's your name? I smiled faintly. Mia. Mia. He repeated it like he was engraving it somewhere in memory. Where are you from? Who are you working for again? Harbor Street Diner, I said. I wait tables. Mostly night shifts. Pays the bills. What bills? He asked gently. I swallowed. My mom is sick. Treatments are expensive. I take extra shifts when I can. His face changed, softened, and hardened with resolve. Mia, you shouldn't be struggling. Not after what you did today. Please don't worry about that. You don't owe me anything. He stared at me, stunned. Most people expect something from me, he said. Favors, money, opportunities. I'm used to it, but you didn't even hesitate to help my son. And now you're telling me not to worry about that? I lowered my eyes. I just did what anyone should do. Anyone? He shook his head. No, not anyone. A nurse interrupted. Mr. Hayes, your son is responding well. He's stable now. Relief washed over the room like a wave. His wife burst into quiet tears. Gordon exhaled shakily, leaning against the wall and covering his face. I took a step back to give them space, planning to slip out quietly, but I didn't get far. Mia? He called. I turned. You're not leaving. Not yet. My stomach flipped. Is everything okay? Yes, he said. More than okay, but I need you to come with me. Where? To my office. Here in the hospital. He gestured for me to follow. I wasn't sure what was happening. I wasn't sure why it was happening. But I followed him down the hallway until we reached a large glass room overlooking the courtyard. The night lights made the trees glow gold outside. Inside, everything smelled like fresh paper and power, the kind of room where billionaires made decisions that shaped entire industries. He closed the door behind us. Sit, he said, but not unkindly. I sat. He took a slow breath, then said something I never expected to hear in my life. Mia, I want to offer you a job. I blinked. A job? Yes, not as a waitress. His voice was firm. I want you in my company. My heart pounded. Sir, I don't think you understand. I didn't go to college. I barely finished high school. I have no business in a billionaire's company. That's where you're wrong. His voice cut through my panic. You have instincts, awareness, empathy. You see things others overlook. That's exactly the kind of person I want close to me. I couldn't breathe for a moment. I want you as my personal liaison, he continued. A role built around your strengths. You'll help me manage people, observe situations, read rooms. Things money can't teach. My voice came out tiny. Why me? Because today, he said softly, you saved my son. And because people like you don't come around often. My hands shook. I can't accept that, I whispered. Why not? Because I'm just... Don't you dare finish that sentence? His voice broke. You are not just anything. I blinked back tears. He sat across from me, folding his hands. You deserve more than a diner night shift. More than exhausted mornings and bills you can't pay. You deserve a chance. And on offering it, I stared at him, overwhelmed. What about my mom? I asked. I need flexibility to take care of her. You'll have it, he said immediately. Full medical coverage for her, and a salary that ends your struggles. Permanently. A sob escaped me before I could stop it. He didn't look away. I'm not helping you out of pity, he said quietly. I'm doing this because you earned it. Earned it. Those words hit harder than anything else. Think about it, he said. But Mia, your life doesn't have to stay where it is? I wiped my eyes and nodded. I'll think about it. Good, good. He stood and opened the door. Now go home. Rest. Hug your mom. And come back tomorrow. My assistant will be waiting. I stood but hesitated. Sir, why are you trusting me so much? He smiled, tired, grateful, sincere. Because tonight you saved the most important person in my life. And you didn't even ask for my name. As I walked out of the hospital, the city lights shimmered like scattered hope. I breathed in the cold night air, still shaking, still not sure this was real. But deep inside, I felt something I hadn't felt in years. Possibility, a new beginning, a life I never imagined. And it all started because I noticed what others missed.